The storm had grown worse, lightning slashing across the sky, illuminating the fractured landscape in eerie flashes. The ground trembled with every move of the predator, a colossal force of destruction that even the aliens' most advanced sensors struggled to track. Captain Rena Vale stood atop a rocky ridge, surveying the battlefield. Her team, Omega Squadron, was strategically positioned along the jagged terrain. Each soldier had been assigned a critical role: ambush points, energy traps, decoys, and communication links with the aliens' devices. "Listen up," Vale said, her voice steady over the howling wind. "The Predator is learning. It adapts faster than any enemy we've faced. But we have one advantage: it does not understand humans. We think, improvise, and take risks it cannot predict. That's why we're here." Lieutenant Cale Trask checked his equipment. The traps are in place. Energy nets, pulse fields, gravity disruptors, all synchronized with the alien systems. But it's huge. One mistake and it could crush us before we can react. Vale's eyes narrowed. "Then we don't make mistakes. We fight smart. We fight together. And we fight human." From the tower, Mara Lynn's voice crackled through the comms. "Captain, the Predator is entering the lower atmosphere. It's scanning, tracking, and adjusting its path constantly. It's heading toward the central structures." Vale nodded. "Good. That's where we need it. All teams activate the decoys. Make it think the aliens are fleeing." The squad moved swiftly, setting off a series of holographic projections and energy pulses designed to mimic fleeing alien groups. The Predator paused, its immense form analyzing the signals, calculating its next move. "It's fooled, for now," Lynn reported. "But it's learning. We'll need a second phase to trap it completely." Vale signaled Trask. "Phase 2. Deploy the energy nets across the gorge. The Predator will follow the decoys, and will force it into the kill zone." Trask sprinted down the ridge, commanding a small team to extend the alien tech-enhanced nets. They shimmered with power, ready to ensnare the Predator when it arrived. The alien scientists assisted, amplifying the energy pulses to increase the trap's strength. Outside, the Predator moved with terrifying speed. Its massive limbs tore through the terrain, and energy radiated from its body in waves, destabilizing the ground with every step. The squad sensors beeped frantically, tracking its path. "Now!" Vale shouted. The decoys activated fully, projecting holographic images of panicked aliens retreating. The Predator lunged toward them, and the squad triggered the energy nets. Pulses shot out, wrapping around the Predator like glowing chains. It roared, a sound that shook the sky, and twisted violently, breaking through the first layer of the net. Vale's eyes narrowed. "Adaptation. It's adapting. Keep the net synchronized. Don't let it escape." Trask barked orders, adjusting the nets in real time. Gravity disruptors and pulse fields worked in tandem with the alien technology, slowing the Predator and forcing it toward the gorge. The squad moved like a single organism, each member anticipating the Predator's reactions and adjusting the traps accordingly. Lynn's fingers flew across the console inside the tower. "Captain, energy fields at maximum output. The Predator is slowing. It's almost within the gorge." Vale nodded. "Good. Everyone prepare for the final phase. Once it's inside, we collapse the energy traps and isolate it. Keep it contained until we can finish the job." The Predator struggled, but its own size and energy output made it difficult for the squad to control completely. It roared again, shaking the air and ground. Lightning split the sky, reflecting off its massive form. Yet despite its power, it moved directly into the gorge, drawn by the decoys and human strategy. Vale and Trask moved forward cautiously, leading a small strike team. "We need to reinforce the containment," Vale said. "Once it's in, we strike with precision. Aim for the energy nodes. We disable it, not destroy it completely. If we destroy it, we risk destabilizing the planet's energy fields and the aliens' survival." The squad positioned themselves strategically along the gorge. Weapons ready, pulse grenades charged, and traps at the highest energy output. Lynn's voice came through the comms again. "Captain, the Predator is fully inside the gorge. Energy nets collapsing in 3, 2, 1. A wave of energy shot up, enveloping the Predator, restricting its movement. It roared, thrashing against the restraints, but the squad anticipated every move. Vale and Trask fired pulse charges at critical points synchronized with the alien devices, and the Predator slowed further. One of the aliens watched in awe. "Humans. Dangerous, clever. They fight like nothing we imagined." Vale glanced at the alien. That's right. Humans survive where others fail, and right now that's exactly what this planet needs. The predator twisted violently, attempting to break free. Trask adjusted the nets again, reinforcing the energy fields. It's resisting. We can't hold it much longer. Prepare for direct engagement, Vale nodded. Fine, direct engagement it is. Follow my lead. Target its core energy nodes. Hit them all at once. Synchronize with the alien amplifiers. The squad moved swiftly, dodging energy blasts and falling debris. Pulse weapons fired. Energy nets snapped into place, and gravity disruptors kept the predator balanced within the gorge. Despite its immense power, the predator could not anticipate human ingenuity and coordination. Vale aimed her weapon at one of the critical nodes, firing a concentrated energy beam. Trask did the same from another angle. Simultaneously, Lin activated the alien amplifiers, creating a feedback loop that struck the predator from multiple directions. The predator shrieked, a sound of frustration and rage, and staggered. It had been slowed, contained, and forced into submission, though not destroyed. The squad held their positions, exhausted but victorious, for now. Outside the gorge, the storm began to subside slightly, though lightning still danced across the sky. The aliens emerged cautiously from their shelters, observing the humans who had saved them. One of them stepped forward, translated by Lin. You. Humans. Dangerous, but we are grateful. You saved us. Vale allowed herself a small nod. We're dangerous because we adapt. We survive. And we don't abandon those in need. That's what humans do best. Trask, wiping sweat from his brow, added, and if anything tries to mess with Earth or anyone we care about, we don't stop. That's our way. The aliens looked at the squad with a mixture of awe and relief. Their fear had been replaced by hope, and their respect for these humans, their dangerous but heroic protectors, was evident. Vale addressed her team. We've contained it for now, but this is not over. The predator is still alive. It will learn from this encounter. We need to prepare for the next phase, Trask nodded. Agreed, but for now we've proven something. Humans are a force to be reckoned with. Vale's eyes scanned the horizon where the predator's massive form lingered in the gorge. Yes, but being dangerous isn't enough. We must be smarter, faster, and more unpredictable than it ever expects. That's how we win. That's how humans survive. The aliens began repairing their structures with guidance from Vale and her team. Slowly, the central tower systems came back online, reinforced and integrated with human strategy. Together, humans and aliens created a defensive network capable of holding the predator at bay longer than it could have imagined. The storm's intensity lessened, but the energy of the battlefield remained high. The predator, though contained, watched, calculated, and waited. It had underestimated humans, and it would not make that mistake again. Vale looked at her squad, proud despite their exhaustion. We've bought time. We've saved lives. And we've shown them why humans are dangerous. But this battle isn't over. Tomorrow we finish it. And when we do, the predator will remember what it means to face Earth's most dangerous force. Lightning flashed one last time across the horizon, casting shadows over the gorge. The predator's eyes glowed with intelligence and menace. But humanity's most dangerous force had arrived, and the galaxy had taken notice. For the first time, the aliens dared to hope, and for the first time, Omega Squadron knew their mission was not just survival, it was the proving of humanity's ingenuity, courage, and unstoppable force. The battle was far from over, but the stage was set. Humans had entered the fray, and the predator had met its match. The predator loomed in the gorge, a monstrous silhouette against the storm-darkened sky. Its energy pulsed, shaking the ground with every movement. Lightning cracked above, reflecting off its immense form, and the winds carried the roar of its power across the fractured terrain. Captain Rena Vale stood on a ridge overlooking the battlefield, her team spread strategically below. They had contained the predator, slowed its advance, and bought time for the aliens. But containment was not enough. They had to finish this, and ensure the predator could never threaten life in the system again. Trask adjusted his weapon, surveying the gorge. Captain, it's learning from the traps. The next attack will be more focused. We'll need to hit it with everything we have synchronized. Vale nodded. Exactly. We've tested it. We know its patterns. Now we turn the battlefield against it. Human ingenuity combined with alien tech will force it into a trap it cannot escape. Inside the central tower, Mara Lynn monitored the energy amplifiers. All systems operational. The feedback loops are ready. Once the predator moves into the gorge, we trigger everything at once. It won't have a chance to adapt. Vale surveyed her team. Remember, we strike with precision. We don't destroy the planet and we don't harm the aliens, but we will force this predator to its knees. Everyone knows their role. Move fast, stay sharp, and trust each other. The predator shifted, sensing the human's presence. Its massive form pulsed with energy, scanning, calculating. Its intelligence was undeniable, but it had underestimated humans once. Now Omega Squadron was prepared to exploit that mistake. Vale signaled. Trask and his squad moved into position along the gorge, hiding behind jagged rocks, energy nets at the ready. Lynn monitored the amplifiers, her fingers flying over the console. The alien scientists assisted, reinforcing the energy nodes and preparing additional traps. Vale's voice came over the comms. Now, trigger phase 1. Energy nets shot out, wrapping around the predator's massive limbs. Gravity disruptors pulled it toward the center of the gorge, and holographic decoys projected fleeing aliens, drawing the predator into the perfect position. The predator roared, thrashing violently against the restraints. Lightning split the sky, reflecting off its immense body. It was strong, intelligent, and relentless, but Omega Squadron remained calm, coordinated, and precise. Phase 2, Vale commanded. Pulse weapons fired from multiple angles, energy beams striking critical nodes along the predator's form. Simultaneously, the alien amplifiers intensified, creating a feedback loop that sent pulses of energy directly into the predator's core. It struggled, adapting quickly, but the humans had predicted this. Trask triggered additional traps, sending gravitational waves to destabilize its balance. The predator staggered, slowed, and fought to regain control. But the gorge was carefully prepared. Every trap, every beam, every pulse worked in harmony. Vale and her strike team moved in closer. Focus on the energy nodes, she ordered. Hit them all at once. Timing is everything. The squad fired in perfect synchronization, their weapons striking simultaneously while Lynn amplified the pulses. The predator shrieked, a sound that echoed through the gorge like thunder, but it could not escape. One of the alien scientists whispered in awe, translated by Lynn, "They..." Humans, clever, dangerous, brave. Vale did not respond. Her focus was absolute. The predator's immense power was terrifying, but it was not invincible. Humans had survived worse, adapted faster, and now they were proving why they were feared throughout the galaxy. The predator lunged forward in a final attempt to break free, but the gorge's traps and amplifiers held firm. It slammed against the energy nets, its movement slowed to a staggering rhythm. Vale signaled Trask, final phase. End this now. The squad fired one last concentrated strike at the predator's core nodes. Energy beams, pulse charges, and amplified alien devices combined in a blinding surge. The predator roared and staggered, then collapsed heavily onto the gorge floor, contained and powerless. Silence followed, broken only by the storm's fading wind. The predator was defeated, not destroyed but neutralized. It could no longer threaten the alien planet or any life within the system. Vale lowered her weapon and exhaled. Her squad gathered around, exhausted but victorious. Every member had acted perfectly, combining skill, strategy, and human intuition. They had faced the impossible and prevailed. The aliens emerged from the central tower, cautious at first, then openly grateful. One stepped forward, large eyes shining with relief. "You saved us, humans. Dangerous, but heroes." Vale allowed herself a small nod. Humans are dangerous because we adapt. We improvise. We don't give up. And we never abandon those in need. That's what we've done here today, Trask added with a wry grin. And if anything ever tries to mess with Earth or anyone we care about, they'll learn the same lesson we taught this predator. Humans are unstoppable when necessary. The aliens approached the squad, offering gestures of thanks that transcended language. It was clear they would remember this day, and the humans who had saved them from fear to hope, from desperation to survival. Lynn monitored the predator's energy signatures, ensuring the containment was stable. "It's contained," she said. "No chance of escape. The planet is safe for now." Vale surveyed the battlefield one last time. The storm was fading, the sky beginning to clear, and the alien structures were already being repaired. The predator remained in the gorge, a silent reminder of the threat it once posed, but humanity's most dangerous force had proven stronger. "Prepare for extraction," Vale ordered. "We've done our job here. The aliens are safe, the Predator is contained, and Earth has sent a message to the galaxy. Humans are not to be underestimated." As Omega Squadron boarded their shuttle, the aliens gathered at the edge of the plateau, watching silently. Their expressions conveyed respect, gratitude, and a newfound understanding. Humans were a force unlike any other. Dangerous, yes, but also brave and capable of incredible good. The shuttle rose into the sky, leaving the planet behind. Vale looked back at the storm-cleared gorge, the Predator contained within it. "We've proven something here today," she said quietly. "Humans are more than survival. We are ingenuity. We are courage. And we are a force the galaxy must respect." Trask leaned back in his seat, smiling. "Not bad for Earth's most dangerous team, huh?" Vale allowed a small smile. "Not bad at all. But remember, our work isn't over. The universe is full of threats, and wherever danger calls, humans will answer. That's what makes us unstoppable." Lynn glanced at the alien systems they had helped stabilize. "And we've left them stronger than before. They'll remember humanity not just as a species, but as a force capable of incredible things." The shuttle jumped to light speed, stars stretching into lines as they traveled back toward Earth. Vale sat back, watching her team. They were tired, battered, and exhilarated, but they were alive, and they had done the impossible. Somewhere in the distant reaches of space, the Predator waited, but it had learned a lesson it would not forget. Humans were unpredictable, fearless, and extraordinarily dangerous. The galaxy had a new warning and a new reason to respect Earth. Vale's eyes narrowed with determination. "The Predator may survive," she said, "but it will never forget the humans who stopped it, and neither will the galaxy." The team was quiet, each reflecting on the mission's success. The alien system was safe, their civilization preserved, and humanity had proven once again why they were feared, respected, and celebrated as a force unlike any other. As the shuttle sped through space, the team shared a brief moment of camaraderie. Knowing they had done more than survive, they had saved lives, showcased human ingenuity, and reminded the galaxy that Earth's most dangerous force was also its greatest hope. The stars stretched endlessly before them, and Vale knew this was only the beginning. Humanity had made its mark, and the universe had taken notice. Wherever danger lurked, humans would rise to meet it, with courage, skill, and an unwavering will. Omega Squadron, Earth's most dangerous force, had answered the call, and the galaxy would never forget them. The stars stretched endlessly around the exploration fleet as it orbited a distant, storm-racked planet. The human ships had been traveling through the sector for months, charting worlds, scanning for resources, and observing alien civilizations. It was routine work, but the crew knew the universe was far from safe. Lieutenant Mara Chen, stationed on the scout ship Aurora, stared at the glowing radar screen. She had been awake for hours, checking the signals from the planet below. That's when the unexpected signal arrived. It was faint, fragmented, and unlike anything they had recorded before. "Commander," Mara said, her voice tense, "we're picking up an SOS from the planet's surface." Commander Tarek Malik, the leader of the orbiting fleet, frowned. He was a man used to facing unknown dangers, yet this message unsettled him. "SOS," he repeated, leaning closer to the screen. "Are you sure it's not a trap? The sector has been quiet for months. Something like this. It doesn't happen by accident." Mara shook her head. "No, sir. The signal is weak, but it's definitely a distress call. Someone is in trouble down there." The command deck filled with murmurs as other officers checked the readings. The SOS signal was erratic, distorted by the planet's harsh storms. "It's coming from a colony," one officer reported. "Coordinates point to the southern hemisphere. Sensors show signs of life, but we can't tell how many or what kind." Tarek's jaw tightened. "A colony. Abandoned or destroyed? We can't tell yet." "The storm interference is heavy," Mara replied. The fleet held a council to decide their next move. Some officers argued to ignore the signal, fearing it was a trap by hostile aliens. Others argued that leaving a distress call unanswered was against every principle humanity stood for. After hours of debate, Tarek made a decision. "Prepare the scout ship," he ordered. "We'll investigate, but stay alert. This planet may not be as empty as it looks." Mara's heart raced as she prepared the Aurora for descent. The ship was small but fast, equipped with sensors and defense systems. As it cut through the upper atmosphere, the storm raged around it, lightning cracking across the sky. The turbulence shook the ship, but Mara and her co-pilot, Lieutenant Soren Hale, held steady. "Storm is getting worse," Soren said, adjusting the controls. "Visibility is almost zero." "Keep going," Mara replied. "If there's someone down there, they need us." Below them, the planet's surface revealed jagged mountains, dense forests, and rivers that glowed faintly from chemical reactions in the air. The storm created a chaotic landscape, one that seemed designed to challenge any living being. Mara couldn't help but feel a mix of awe and fear. This world was alive in its own dangerous way. Finally, the Aurora approached the source of the signal. What Mara saw made her catch her breath. Buildings partially destroyed were scattered across a valley. Smoke rose from the wreckage. Footprints and tracks marked the ground, showing a struggle had taken place. And then she saw movement. Small figures ran across the clearing, dodging debris and fallen trees. They were not human. Tall, muscular, with rough, leathery skin and glowing eyes, they moved with an unnatural grace. Mara's eyes widened. She had read about survival-adapted species, but these were something different. The ship's sensors labeled them as Deathworlders, a species known to survive environments no human could endure. "Commander," Mara whispered into her comm. "We have contact. The SOS. It's from these beings. They're under attack." Tarek's voice crackled back, calm but urgent. "Keep your distance. Observe first. Report everything." The Deathworlders fought with incredible skill. They dodged blasts from alien weapons, rolled under falling debris, and used the environment to their advantage. Mara watched as one of them grabbed a fallen tree branch and used it to sweep an enemy aside, then sprang onto a ridge, launching themselves at another attacker. The aliens were relentless, but so were the Deathworlders. Soren shook his head. "These creatures, they're incredible. How are they surviving this?" Mara didn't answer. She couldn't look away. Every move of the Deathworlders was precise, efficient, and deadly in a way that was frightening, but awe-inspiring. They were fighting for their lives, and they refused to yield. "Scanning their physiology," Mara said, her fingers flying over the console. "They have denser muscles, stronger bones, and faster reflexes than humans. Their metabolism, it's extreme. They can survive injuries that would kill a human in minutes." Tarek's voice came again. "Keep your focus on the battlefield. Remember, your priority is to understand, not interfere. Yet." But Mara couldn't just watch. As the aliens pressed forward, one Deathworlder was cornered by a group of hostile creatures. Without thinking, Mara piloted the Aurora to provide cover fire. Lasers streaked across the sky, forcing the attackers back. The Deathworlder took the chance to escape, looking back at the ship with a mixture of confusion and curiosity. "Did you see that?" Soren asked, astonished. They just watched us help them and didn't attack." "That's unusual," Mara nodded. "They know we're not the enemy. They're cautious, but they understand help when they see it." As night fell on the planet, the storm began to subside, revealing a sky painted with strange auroras. Mara guided the Aurora closer to the valley to gather more information. The Deathworlders were regrouping, tending to the wounded and preparing for the next wave of attackers. Their society, even in the chaos of battle, showed organization and intelligence. On the command deck of the orbiting fleet, Tarek observed the live feed with concern. "These beings, they're unlike anything we've encountered. If we can gain their trust, they could become invaluable allies. But first, we need to understand what we're dealing with. This SOS, it may be more important than we realized." Mara's voice broke the silence. "Commander, I think they sent that SOS because they couldn't fight this alone. Whoever these attackers are, they're dangerous. If we don't respond, they could be wiped out." Tarek's expression hardened. "Then we'll respond. But carefully. No rash moves. Humanity can't afford to lose either side. Prepare for first contact. And Mara, be ready for anything. This planet doesn't forgive mistakes." As the Aurora hovered over the battlefield, Mara realized that what they had stumbled upon was far bigger than a simple distress call. The SOS had brought humanity to a world of danger, survival, and the unknown. And at the center of it all were the Deathworlders, beings who could thrive where humans would perish, and who might just hold the key to survival against an enemy that threatened the galaxy. The night stretched on, filled with distant roars, the crackle of energy weapons, and the flash of lightning across jagged peaks. Mara's mind raced with questions. Who were the attackers? Why did they come to this planet? And most importantly, could humans and Deathworlders fight together, or would the battlefield become their grave? As the first part of the SOS's story unfolded, humanity had no choice but to step into the storm and face a world that could break them, or forge them into something greater. The storm had finally passed, leaving the planet's surface glimmering under strange auroras that stretched across the sky. Mara Chen guided the aurora carefully over the valley, her eyes fixed on the movement below. The Deathworlders, the native beings of this planet, were gathering themselves. Each one was a towering figure of strength and precision, moving in ways that made Mara's jaw drop. They're coordinating, Soren Hale whispered beside her. It's like they can read each other's minds. Mara nodded. Not reading minds. They've survived countless battles here. Every movement is instinct honed by their environment. They know exactly how to fight together. Suddenly the ground shook as massive figures emerged from the tree line. More Deathworlders arrived, their arrival marked by the crackle of energy and the snap of branches under enormous feet. They didn't speak the language of humans, but their communication was clear. Gestures, sounds, and the careful positioning of their units signaled readiness. Mara's hands tightened on the controls. They're here. They're responding to the SOS, and they mean business. Below, the attackers regrouped, sensing the arrival of reinforcements. Unlike the Deathworlders, these beings moved with mechanical precision. Their weapons were strange but deadly, emitting beams of energy that scorched the ground and tore through the forest. Commander, Mara said into her comm, the Deathworlders are fully engaging now. Should we intervene? Tariq Malik's calm voice came through the speaker. Observe for now. Let them lead. Humanity must learn from them before we act. Only step in if necessary. The Deathworlders advanced in a way that was both terrifying and mesmerizing. Some leaped across ravines with supernatural agility. Others hurled massive stones with pinpoint accuracy. Mara watched one Deathworlder use the fallen trunk of a tree as a bridge, sliding across it to reach an enemy's flank before springing into the air and taking out 2 attackers in a single strike. They're incredible, Soren murmured. How can a species survive this kind of world? They were born for it, Mara replied. Every sense, every muscle, adapted to survive the impossible. Despite their awe, Mara noticed something unexpected. The Deathworlders didn't immediately attack humans, even though the aurora hovered dangerously close. They studied the ship, curious but cautious. Mara realized that they were not just warriors. They were intelligent, disciplined, and strategic. Then, one of the attackers broke formation and headed straight toward the human ship. Mara had only a moment to act. She maneuvered the aurora to intercept, firing warning shots. The attacker skidded to a halt, clearly surprised. From the ground, a Deathworlder threw a massive rock with incredible precision, knocking the alien back and forcing it to retreat. Mara's comm buzzed with Tariq's voice firm and approving. Good observation, Lieutenant. The Deathworlders recognize threats and respond immediately. Learn from their timing. Watch their instincts. As the battle continued, the humans began to notice patterns. The Deathworlders used the environment in ways no human army could. They vanished into forests and reappeared where enemies least expected them. Rivers were used to block approaches. Rocks were thrown with exact force and cliffs became weapons. Mara realized that the attackers were strong, but the Deathworlders had trained their bodies and minds to turn danger into advantage. Hours passed, and the humans on the Aurora began to understand the scale of the conflict. The attackers were not random raiders. They were organized, coordinated, and intent on eliminating the Deathworlders. The stakes were higher than anyone had imagined. Mara saw one Deathworlder wounded by a direct hit. The creature stumbled, barely able to rise, yet it continued fighting. Another Deathworlder came to its aid, dragging the injured companion behind cover while fending off attackers with unmatched speed. Humanity watched in silent awe as resilience became the hallmark of these beings. Soren turned to Mara. We thought humans were tough, but these guys make us look fragile. Mara nodded. They survive in a world that would kill us instantly. Their strength is instinct, not just skill, and now, they might just teach us how to fight in ways we've never imagined. As the sun dipped below the jagged mountains, the battle reached a turning point. The Deathworlders began to counterattack, not just defending themselves but pushing the enemies back. They moved like shadows, striking precisely, retreating, and then striking again. Mara noticed their unique tactics. Some created distractions, others ambushed, while some drew enemies into traps using the landscape itself. From orbit, Tarek observed the developments with growing respect. "These beings are extraordinary," he said softly. "If we can learn even a fraction of their tactics, humanity will be stronger than we've ever been. But first we must earn their trust." On the ground, a young human scientist named Elan Wren, part of the exploration fleet, had landed nearby to collect data. He watched the Deathworlders closely, noting how they healed wounds, shared resources, and coordinated movements silently. It was clear they were not mindless killers. They were a society forged in hardship, survival, and honor. Elan's scanner picked up a faint signal, not from the attackers but from the Deathworlders themselves. They were communicating in a way that humans could barely detect, a series of vibrations, clicks, and tonal signals that conveyed both information and intention. "They're talking to each other," Elan said in awe. "Even in the middle of battle, they coordinate without words humans understand. There's intelligence here that we've underestimated." Back on the Aurora, Mara saw a group of attackers corner a Deathworlder near a cliff's edge. The creature leapt into the air, twisting mid-flight, and used the cliffside to launch itself onto the attackers, knocking them off balance. Mara's fingers flew over the controls, tracking the movements. She realized that the Deathworlders were not just fighters. They were masters of physics, using momentum, gravity, and environment as weapons. Soren whistled quietly. If humans could fight like that, no enemy could stand a chance. Mara looked down at the battlefield, her eyes scanning the chaos. She knew this was a rare opportunity. The Deathworlders were fierce, and if humanity could ally with them, they would gain not just allies but teachers, beings who could survive where humans would fail. Suddenly, a larger attacker emerged, a towering figure with armor that seemed impervious to the Deathworlders' attacks. Mara realized this might be the leader of the enemy force. The Deathworlders paused, circling cautiously, their instincts alert. One Deathworlder, noticeably larger than the others, stepped forward. It roared, a sound that echoed through the valley and charged with blinding speed. The creature collided with the armored attacker, sending both crashing into the ground. Mara and Soren exchanged stunned glances. "They're fearless," Mara whispered. "Even against something bigger, stronger. They don't hesitate." The battle raged on through the night. Mara guided the Aurora, observing, documenting, and occasionally assisting where human intervention was critical. The Deathworlders fought not out of hatred but for survival, for honor, and for their home. Every move, every strike, and every retreat was purposeful. Humans could only marvel at their discipline and power. As dawn approached, the remaining attackers retreated, wounded and disorganized. The Deathworlders stood victorious, though battered and exhausted. Mara felt a profound respect grow within her. These beings had endured horrors unimaginable to humans and had survived with strength, intelligence, and unity. Tarek's voice came through the calm but full of awe. "Report, Lieutenant." Mara took a deep breath. "They've won the battle, sir. The attackers are retreating. The Deathworlders, they're incredible. They survive, adapt, and fight in ways we can barely comprehend. If humanity could ally with them, we would be stronger than anything in the sector." Tarek remained silent for a moment, then said, "Good work, Mara. Prepare for first contact. Humanity may have found not only allies, but a force that could change the balance of power in this galaxy. But approach carefully. Trust must be earned." Mara looked down at the Deathworlders as they tended to their wounded and regrouped. They noticed the human ship but did not attack or flee. There was curiosity in their stance, a cautious acknowledgement of humanity's presence. Mara knew that the next step would define the future: trust, cooperation, and a chance to fight together, or retreat and remain strangers forever. As the sun rose over the jagged peaks, painting the valley in shades of gold and crimson, Mara felt a sense of purpose. The SOS had brought humanity here, to a battlefield filled with danger, survival, and possibilities. And in the middle of it all were the Deathworlders, beings born to thrive in the impossible, who might just become humanity's greatest allies. For the first time, Mara understood the true meaning of the SOS. It was not just a call for help. It was a summons to witness strength, resilience, and the unyielding spirit of life itself. The valley was quiet now, but the air was thick with tension. The Deathworlders had won the first clash, but both they and the humans knew the battle was far from over. Mara Chen and her team aboard the Aurora observed the creatures carefully. They were intelligent, disciplined, and resilient, but they also had their limits. Humanity's role, Mara realized, would be to complement these strengths, not replace them. Lieutenant Soren Hale leaned over the console. "They move like shadows," he whispered. "They anticipate everything. How do we even fight alongside them?" Mara shook her head, her eyes fixed on the Deathworlders below. "We don't just imitate them. We find a way to combine our skills. Technology and tactics meet instinct and survival." Tarek Malik's voice came over the comm. "Lieutenant, prepare a landing party. Contact is essential. We need to establish communication and offer support. Observe how they respond to us." The human team suited up and descended into the valley. The terrain was still treacherous. Fallen trees, jagged rocks, and small fires from the battle littered the ground. The Deathworlders paused as the humans approached, their glowing eyes scanning the newcomers carefully. Mara stepped forward, hands raised in a universal gesture of peace. "We come in friendship," she called out. "We want to help. We mean no harm." One of the Deathworlders, larger than the others, stepped forward. Its voice was a deep, resonant sound, almost like a song. The humans couldn't understand it, but its tone carried authority and caution. The creature studied them for long moments before giving a subtle nod. The rest of the Deathworlders relaxed slightly. Elon Wren, the young scientist, whispered to Mara, "They're listening. They understand intention more than words. That nod, it means they're willing to allow us to observe." Mara nodded. "Good, stay alert." This is the first step. Over the next several hours, the humans and Deathworlders began tentative cooperation. The humans provided defensive support, using their technology to detect hidden attackers and create temporary shields. The Deathworlders taught the humans how to move silently across rugged terrain, how to read environmental cues, and how to turn obstacles into advantages. One Deathworlder, whom Mara nicknamed Kara, demonstrated a remarkable technique. With a single leap, Kara landed atop a cliff and used gravity to hurl boulders at the enemy, creating chaos among their ranks. Mara and Soren watched closely, taking notes and learning how timing and momentum could be used as weapons. Soren shook his head in awe. "It's like watching nature fight, but smarter and faster than any human could manage." Mara agreed. "And we need to find a way to synchronize our actions with theirs. That's the only way we'll survive the next attack." That evening, while the humans and Deathworlders camped near the edge of the valley, Mara called a meeting with Tarek and her team. "We've observed their tactics, their movement, their instincts," she explained. "Now it's time to experiment with combined strategies. Humans provide precision, range, and technology. Deathworlders provide agility, survival skills, and environmental mastery. Together, we might be unstoppable." Tarek nodded thoughtfully. "Agreed, but remember, trust is fragile. One mistake could cost us both sides dearly." The next morning, scouts reported movement on the horizon. The enemy was returning stronger and more organized than before. Mara and the Deathworlders prepared together. Humans set up energy barriers and observation points, while Deathworlders took positions in the forests and cliffs. Coordination was difficult at first. Humans relied on plans and calculations, while Deathworlders acted instinctively. Missteps caused confusion, but the two sides slowly began to adjust. During the first engagement, a group of human soldiers advanced too quickly and became isolated. Deathworlders noticed immediately. Without hesitation, Kara and a few others sprang into action, creating a diversion and clearing the path for the humans to regroup. The humans realized that patience, observation, and instinct, traits the Deathworlders had in abundance, were as important as firepower. Mara watched from a ridge, her heart pounding. "They saved them. Just like that. We're learning fast, but we still have a long way to go." Elon, who had been analyzing battlefield data, spoke up. "Their teamwork isn't taught, it's honed by necessity. We can study it, but we must also adapt our thinking. The next wave will test not only our tactics, but our trust." As predicted, the enemy launched a major counterattack. Mara and her team held their positions with the Deathworlders. The attackers were relentless, using speed, numbers, and strange energy weapons. The humans fired from long range, picking off enemies from a distance, while Deathworlders used ambushes and terrain mastery to disrupt the enemy's formations. A moment of crisis arrived, when a group of attackers tried to flank the humans from a narrow canyon. Mara noticed it too late. Soren shouted. "We're surrounded!" Kara and a few Deathworlders leapt into action. They blocked the attackers, using immense strength and precise strikes to keep the humans safe. Mara realized that this was the first time humans and Deathworlders had truly fought as a single unit. Each side covered the weaknesses of the other, creating a balance neither could achieve alone. The humans began to adapt, moving silently, observing terrain and timing their attacks to the Deathworlders' movements. Mara noticed subtle signals, a tilt of the head, a click of claws, that indicated enemy positions. Using these, the humans could fire with accuracy, while the Deathworlders executed devastating melee strikes. Hours passed, the sun moved across the sky, and by the afternoon, the enemy began to retreat. The humans and Deathworlders had turned what could have been a disaster into a victory. Exhausted but exhilarated, they regrouped. Mara approached Kara, who had been fighting tirelessly alongside them. "You saved us again," Mara said quietly. We can learn from you. Teach us more." Kara tilted her head, making a low sound that Mara interpreted as acknowledgement. Trust was building. Respect was forming. And for the first time, humans understood that this partnership was not just about survival, it was about growth. That evening, as both groups settled near a river to rest, Tarek contacted Mara. "Report," he said, calm but excited. "The humans are learning from the Deathworlders," Mara replied. "We're starting to move together as one. Coordination is improving. Their instincts combined with our technology. This is something new, something powerful. But the enemy is stronger than before. We can't underestimate them again." Tarek's voice was firm. "Good, keep observing. Keep learning. And prepare for the next phase. This battle is far from over, and the galaxy may depend on what we learn here." Mara looked at the valley below, filled with the silent strength of the Deathworlders. "We're ready," she whispered. "If we can fight together, nothing will stop us." Elon beside her smiled. "We're learning not just to fight, but to survive, and to thrive. Humanity may have found its first real allies in the galaxy." As night fell, the humans and Deathworlders sat by the firelight, sharing space, though not words. The humans studied, the Deathworlders rested, and both understood a silent truth. Trust and cooperation could be the difference between victory and extinction. In the distance, the enemy forces regrouped, preparing for their next attack. The humans and Deathworlders, now bonded by experience, readiness, and respect, would face them together, and though the battle ahead would test their skills, courage, and unity, the first steps toward mutual understanding had been taken. For Mara Chen, this was more than a fight for survival. It was a lesson in resilience, adaptation, and the extraordinary potential of life when different strengths come together. Humanity had found allies who could endure the impossible, and the Deathworlders had found beings capable of learning from them. The SOS that had brought them to the planet was more than a call for help. It was a call for cooperation, courage, and a chance to rise above fear and uncertainty. And as the first stars of night appeared over the jagged cliffs, Mara knew that the next battle would test everything they had learned. Together,